Hi everyone. Today's video I am going to talk about the food options that we had when we were at EPCOT. We recently went to EPCOT over spring break, and we've already released one video, so I'll put a link in the description below of that one. It's a travel day, but we ate at Tiffin's, so if you want to check out more food videos, that one is our review of Tiffin's at Animal Kingdom. But today's video is going to be about the foods that we ate at EPCOT. And the reason why I don't have any actual footage of the food that we ate at EPCOT is because it was a particularly rainy day. We had decided not to bring any cameras, any big cameras, but I took photos of with my cell phone, so I'm going to insert them as I talk about them in this video. There are some foods that I forgot to get photos of with my phone, so I'm going to insert Disney food blogs photos that I found online of those particular items as I start to talk about them. So the first thing that we ate, we had a fast pass at like 9 o'clock at Soarin', so we decided to get a little bit of breakfast. I didn't take pictures of breakfast because Christy ate a banana and I had a cheese Danish at Sunshine Seasons at the Land Pavilion, which is, you know, a cherry Danish. Kind of looks, it kind of looks like every other cherry Danish. So I didn't get any photos of that, but it was delicious, and Christy's banana was good. And then we drank water. For lunch, we actually ate at Tutto Italia. And here are a couple of photos of the inside of Tutto Italia, the lobby and the main dining area. Now there were dining areas indoors, of course, and outdoors, and I would have preferred to eat outside if the weather had been less yucky. But we decided to eat indoors, and there was a view of the Italy Pavilion from where we were sitting. I got the lasagna a la bolognese, which was a very delicious dish. There are a couple of restaurants at the Italy Pavilion, and the thing that differs this restaurant from Via Napoli is Via Napoli is really focused on the use of their brick ovens to cook, and so their pasta, I feel like here, outshines the pasta that you can get at Via Napoli. But I got the lasagna a la bolognese, and it was kind of a traditional lasagna, but then they had a bechamel sauce on it, which the bechamel sauce is, from what I understand, looking it up, is it's like a gravy, or like a roux. So it's a creamy white sauce, and it tastes really good. It's different from Alfredo. It's not overwhelming in Parmesan and garlic like Alfredo is, but it's very delicious. We also got a bread service at the beginning, which was pretty standard, nothing special about it. They did include some olive oil, which was very tasty, and fresh olives. And then Christy got the tortellini panna e prosciutto, and it was a cheese tortellini pasta with a creamy white sauce with prosciutto and sweet peas, and it was all together. She said that it was all in all very delicious, but her only complaint was that her pasta of the tortellini was a little chewy, and I'm not for sure if it's supposed to be cooked that way. She just said that was her only thing, and it was just a texture thing. So I think all in all, for the two of us, and we both drank water, our meals were about $60 with the tip. So we got bread service, and then we got, you know, 2 entrees and then water to drink, and it was all in all very delicious. We opted not to get dessert at Tutto Italia because there are so many good places to eat and snack around the World Showcase at EPCOT. So we decided to go over to the Germany Pavilion and get something sweet, which we did at Caramel Kush, which is the Werther's sponsored caramel shop at the Germany Pavilion. So I get what I always get, which is the caramel s'more, which is a graham cracker, homemade marshmallow, a piece of caramel, and then a graham cracker on top, and then the whole thing is dipped in chocolate. And here's a photo of it now, before I took a bite, and then here's a photo after I took a bite. It was very delicious as usual. In the summertime it tends to melt really fast, so once you get it, you better be hungry to eat it, and it's very rich and chewy, and it's delicious. Christy got something different that she normally gets. Normally she gets the pecan shortbread cookie, which is like a shortbread cookie with caramel on top and then pecans, and I think it's got salted pecans on it. So she normally gets that, but today she wanted to try something different, so she got a caramel pecan cluster, and here's a photo of it right now. She actually kind of devoured half of it before I was like, hey, let me take a picture. So she said it was very good. And while we were at the Germany Pavilion, after we ate our treats from Caramel Couche, we walked around the Germany Pavilion, looked at all the shops, and then Christy wanted a grapefruit beer. So at the Germany Pavilion, as you enter the Germany Pavilion on the right, there is a stand where you could purchase different types of German beers. And also they have huge pretzels there that you can get. And so we got Christy a grapefruit beer, and here is a photo of that right now. She really enjoys this beer. When we did travel to Germany, she really enjoyed the citrusy, fruity type Belgian style beers. So she's not a stout beer drinker. She likes more of the fruity, yeasty beers. So that's one of her favorites to get at the Germany Pavilion. So as we were walking through the World Showcase, the next pavilion that we stopped at is the Japanese Pavilion, because I always have to get a kakigori, which is Japanese shaved ice. Here's a photo of it now. I always get cherry flavored. You can get cherry and grape and melon and orange, I think. And then you can also get, for an extra fee, a shot of sweet cream on it, which is like sweetened condensed milk. And I've had it like that before, but in my experience, it being in Florida, it seems like it sits heavy on my stomach. So I always just get the cherry kakigori shaved ice from the Japanese Pavilion. So we're bouncing back and forth between the World Showcase and Future World, doing fast passes and whatnot. And so we decided to go ahead and get at the Morocco Pavilion a walnut baklava, and here's a photo of it right now. I have to tell you, I've never had baklava before, but it has now become one of my favorites. I'm gonna have to get it every time we go. It was so delicious. It was so sweet, I almost needed like a glass of milk to drink to finish the baklava. It was so sweet, and it was nutty, and there was a hint of honey in there. It was just amazing. It was so good. And the pastry part, which I guess was like a phyllo dough, it was flaky and light. It was just delicious. I loved it so much. So those are all the snacks that we normally get when we go to EPCOT, and plus some new ones. There's also a little snack I'm going to throw in just kind of as a ha, but we are Disney Vacation Club members, and at EPCOT there is a DVC lounge, and so we walked up to the DVC lounge. It was kind of rainy, and we wanted to sit and rest for a little bit to where we weren't sitting on a park bench and our butt was getting wet just from sitting there. So we went to the DVC lounge, and they have a freestyle Coke machine up there that's free for the DVC members. So we were sitting there drinking, and then one of the cast members comes around with snacks, and she had Cheez-Its and animal crackers. So here's a photo of my Cheez-Its and my fruit punch that I had at the DVC lounge. Now, of course, during a festival, there's always specialty foods. So I kind of lumped all of these in one category, and I don't recall the order that we went in. I assume we went left you know, and then went clockwise around the World Showcase. I assume we started left at the Mexico Pavilion and then walked our way around, trying different foods that we felt were we would like to try. So this section is the Flower and Garden food section. We have photos of the foods that I took, of our foods that we tried, but then there were a few foods that I forgot to take pictures of, so I inserted a Disney Food Blogs internet photo of those pictures in their place. Let's go over the Flower and Garden foods that we tried. So the first one that we got was the Frozen Desert Violet Lemonade, and it was at one of the pavilions before you actually get into the countries, and it was delicious. It was one of Christy's things she wanted to get. It's a purple looking lemonade, and at first you kind of look at it thinking it's going to be like a grape lemonade just because it's the color purple, but when you try it, it's really more of a fruity, herbally lemonade. It's very delicious, and it's something that will be refreshing on a warm day. It wasn't warm when we went, but in the hottest part of the day, which was around 70 degrees, it was a very refreshing drink. The next food is over by the France Pavilion, and it was I think the outdoor fleur de lis booth, and it was the chocolate macaron lollipop. Now it had a French name. I'm not going to butcher the French names or any of the names. I'm just going to say it like it is. But it's the chocolate macaron lollipop, and it's basically a thick fudgy macaron on a stick. It was really good for a macaron. It was chilled there, so it was very chewy whenever you ate it. It was really good. The next thing that we had was the Pizza Tuscany, and it was over, of course, by the Italy Pavilion. And from first glance, it was a flatbread, and it kind of looked like school pizza. So you remember how school pizza's got the little bitty breakfast sausages, and you know it's a very thin pizza, but this is a flatbread with the small sausage, caramelized onions, and it didn't have a red sauce. It had like a white sauce or like a garlic type olive oil base to it. But it was really good, and the serving size of this was huge. Take a look at this photo. It came with 2 pieces. So Christy and I got 1 serving, and we each got a slice of pizza. And it was a really good deal. I believe it was $7 or $8, but in monetary Disney funds, that's a pretty good deal for 2 slices of pizza. At the American Pavilion, they have a smokehouse, and so they usually do barbecue style. Now, being so close to Memphis, it's hard for me to enjoy barbecue from anywhere else. I'm kind of very particular about how I like my barbecue cooked. I like a smoky flavor. In a dry rub, I want kind of a salty dry rub, but more smoky flavor than anything. And then in a barbecue sauce, it's got to be sweet. That's just the way I am. So we each got the beef brisket burnt ends and smoked pork belly slider. So this was a slider. The bread was chewy. It was like a pretzel bread, and it had a piece of pork belly. It had the brisket burnt ends, and then it had like a slaw and a queso, and then the top of the bun, and then a toothpick that had a piece of chorizo and a pickle. And then it was all drizzled with some, it seemed like it was like a tangy mayo. Normally this would be something that I might go for if I knew what I was getting into. But for one, I didn't realize it had pork belly on it. I was just like, I just want the slider. I didn't realize it had pork belly on it. I'm not that big of a fatty meat type person, so I didn't really care for that. And last year when we went, this same place had the brisket burnt-ends hash, which was like hash browns with peppers and onions, and brisket burnt ends with barbecue sauce, and queso on it, and I was expecting that on a bun. That's not what I got. So I really wasn't that happy with it. Now Christy loved it. She ate the rest of mine, minus a piece of the bread, because the bread was so thick. I mean, it's like, you can see on the photo how tall it was, and it had a toothpick in it just to hold it up. And under normal circumstances, I might like it, but I was expecting something else. Like, I went to that stand, like, to get the burn-ins hash, and I didn't, and I was like, well, just give me that then. So I was already setting myself up for disappointment. I probably should have just not got anything. But Christy really liked it. The last thing that we ate was near the Morocco Pavilion, and it was one of their flower and garden booths. And the thing that I had heard that was good at this booth was the fried cauliflower. So the fried cauliflower, it actually had like a spicy ranch and some capers, and the cauliflower was dipped and fried, and it was in a light batter. It was delicious. Now, it was spicy. Like, we ran out of water and we had to go get a Sprite because we were not prepared for how spicy it was going to be. But that didn't stop us from eating it. And it was kind of, the spicy ranch dressing would be almost like a buffalo ranch. It was kind of on the vinegary side, but it was very spicy, hot sauce spicy. So if you really like spicy things, I do like spicy things. I wasn't expecting it to be this spicy, which didn't stop me from eating it, but it was very delicious. And I think out of all of the things that we ate at the Flower and Garden Festival, my favorite was the fried cauliflower. I really do. The pizza was good, and I didn't like the burn-ins pork belly slider, but out of all of the things that we tried at the Flower and Garden Festival, the fried cauliflower, I believe, is my favorite thing. So does it for this video of all the things that we had at the Flower and Garden Festival and at our day at EPCOT. Like I said, I wish I could have gotten to film actually film us eating the things, and kind of so you could see the textures of things like that. It was just such a yucky day. I was like, you know what, let's just do the foods of EPCOT and take photos of it. And you can Google all of these photos and all of the menus, and you can see all of the options that they have for the foods at EPCOT and Flower and Garden. And then in the fall, whenever they do food and wine, you can see all of those foods. We'll place them under the menus tab on the website. So if you have any questions or comments, leave those down below, and I will see you in the next one. Later.